There's the
Maybe there's more than one train.
train that's leading Machu Picchu in the evening, taking all of the people that visited here today back to Cusco. Well, as we're getting closer, you can see some of the ruins from some distance. Obviously, these ones on the side. If we're going to have an opportunity to look directly at them. So this may be the only shot.
27 now. Could I have had a roll of 36?
Oh yeah, I put a roll of 36 in there, I thought. There's a roll of 36 on that one, I'm sorry. The sun is beating down, so maybe this will come out. Here's another view of Machu Picchu, standing close by the edge. You can see some of the architecture, people still wandering around from a distance on these outer walls. Looks like a lot is crumbled down here. Need some reconstruction apparently. Now she's going down to the hotel. Of August 8th, 1998 at Machu Picchu. We're going to have a tour with Marcos narrating, lecturing. It's a misty morning. Magical misty morning. Oh, this is beautiful, isn't it?
It's ethereal.
Machu Picchu.
Living with the clouds is better.
In the morning.
The whole mountain was burned. The whole
Machu Picchu.
Lightning?
No, because that's in the dry season, so lightning, we don't have lightning there. So it could have been people, but there was doing something there. Cigarettes for fireworks.
Nice, yeah, you see people smoking here.
Yeah.
The sun, like, be close to the sun god.
No.
People look down.
I was telling you that only 6% of Peru is for farming. Only 6%. And that's not much land at all to feed so many people there. We got very few valleys. So because of that, they need to build their cities on top of the mountains because they need to save the few valleys they got for farming.
I see.
Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
We see that Machu Picchu was built on top of this mountain as well, and we don't understand why. Because we haven't got any valley down there, sorry about that. We haven't got any valley down there. And if you see all these mountains, even, of course, it's really good that you hike, because you are able to understand at the way how these people came to Machu Picchu, the same way how you did. And if you see all these mountains here, all these mountains are granite. I mean, that's all rocky mountains. What am I missing? Two? No. There's no soil up here before, and there was no water up here before. But they were farmers. How they could have decided to build a city in such place? No soil, no water. They didn't take care about that. But they decided to build a city up here, and it was done. But they need soil to feed these people living in this area, to farm. And they started building all these terraces here. See the large number of terraces that we got here? And the rich soil had to be brought up from other valleys, even 20 miles away. But the same way, how you did also. All the hikers had to carry just on their shoulders all that soil to fill up all these terraces so they could farm. and the water. Remember Huayna Picchu? I'm sorry, Huayna. Yes, that's the last point where you stop. Did you see the waterfall in Huayna? So they found that waterfall and they built the canals, the aqueducts, and they had running water in Machu Picchu as well.
Came from there?
Well, yes, sir. Coming from Huayna. So why they need to do that? Why they need to build a city with such conditions? A city that could have taken 100 years at least to build it. How many people do you think were living in Machu Picchu? As you were walking yesterday, can you have a fast guess? How many people were living here? Not even 500 people. Not even 500. So what's the meaning of Machu Picchu? What was Machu Picchu? To build a city, as I said, that could have taken 100 years for less than 500 people. Well, we know that the city of Cusco was the capital of the empire of the Incas, and the city of Cusco was the, while the Inca was living in Cusco, so the city of Cusco was a sacred city, was a holy city. I think the best of the royalty live in Cusco as well. I was remember when I was telling you that the empire of the Incas was very large empire, but it was weak? Do you remember why it was weak?
Because they didn't, when they conquered the other people, they didn't put their beliefs on them. They let them have their own beliefs.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. I was telling you, when the Inca started conquering the other kingdoms, the Inca never destroyed the culture of those kingdoms he had conquered. First of all, because the Inca need to learn from them. The Incas were here for 100 years. 100 years when they conquered so many kingdoms. You know, that's why the empire of the Incas was weak. And the Inca never destroyed culture, religion, tradition, customs, and he kept alive the kings of those kingdoms as well. And I was talking about that hate that, you know, that these people had inside of them. Because when the Inca started conquering the other kingdoms, he used to send ambassadors to talk with the king he was trying to conquer, with many presents and with food, of course. And that was the key of the Incas, food. When the Inca was able to understand that people were starving, one of those kingdoms, the Inca used to send enough food to those kingdoms, and they used to say, well, we know that you people are starving, you had drought. But the Inca is sending all this food to you. And he's also inviting you to be part of his empire. If you don't accept that, the Inca will come with his army and he will kill you. So these people didn't have a choice. They had to say yes or die, in a way. So, so many kings conquered by the Incas, they all had to obey the Inca by force because they were afraid of his power. But inside of them, of course, they hate the Inca. That's why when the Spaniards came here, they were the best allies of the Spaniards to fight the Inca. I was telling you that we can never, never, ever say that 200 Spaniards were the ones who had conquered this whole country. But long before the Spaniards came, the Inca was able to understand about that hate. So the Inca was trying to do something in order to make them forget that hate. So when the Inca started talking with the kings, he used to say, well, you will stay here as a king of your kingdom, but I want to have your father and your mother in my city of Cusco. I need them as my advisors. I don't think those were advisors, though. Hostages.
Yeah.
And I want to have your children as well in my city of Cusco. I need them in Cusco. Why the children? To be given some special education with a very strong brainwash in order to make them forget that hate that their parents had against the Inca. But we don't think this school was in Cusco, because the city of Cusco was a cosmopolitan city. People from all over the empire were living in Cusco. So those people living there, they would have get negative influence in that education. So in order not to have any negative influence at all, they were all brought here to Machu Picchu. So we think that Machu Picchu was a university.
All the children.
Not only for them, not only for the children of the children of the kings conquered by the Incas, but the children of the Incas as well.
Oh, is there a university up here?
Yes. We got a very good key in the 16th century for that. I mean, a Dominican priest with the name of Antonio de la Calancha, he said, I was told by these Quechuas that they got a university of idolatry. He said idolatry, but he said university. And we know that Antonio de la Calancha, this Dominican priest, was looking for that place for many years and it was never found. And I do believe that the Incas need to have one. They were good architects. They were good civil engineers. When we saw Sacsayhuaman, we were able to understand that they had to be very good mathematicians, that they had to know about geometry, from where all that knowledge was coming to them. And they need to build a university in such location, in such place, hidden by these mountains, protected by the nature, because education during the Incan times was state secret. I mean, the rest of the people of the Inca, they were not able to know that they had one. And they were not able to know that they were giving education to people to be kings. During those times, the kings were gods. And you don't supposed to teach to a person that's supposed to be a god. A god's supposed to be born with that wisdom, with that knowledge. If you see the way how Machu Picchu is, you remember Riva is going behind Huayna Picchu and coming this side again. So Machu Picchu is very well protected on three sides, like a horseshoe, protected not only by the river, but the cliffs, vegetation, and hidden by all these mountains. So the access to Machu Picchu was not from the valley. The only way to come here is the way how you did, through the Sun Gates. But to reach the Sun Gates, you need to pass Guayabamba, Runcuracay, Sayajmarca, Puyupatamarca, Huayna, and all those places. So no way of getting to that point of Sun Gate if they wouldn't let them people. Did you find a very nice stone paved road all the way when you track? Not really. The first 2 days, not. It was just a pathway. It was later, almost the last day and a half only. Because if they would have built a very good road all the way, you just follow the road and you reach the place. But the idea was to keep this place on secret.
See, what year did they begin to build Machu Picchu?
Probably 1400s as well, and could have taken 100 years. So I wouldn't say that Machu Picchu was used for more than 20 years as a university. Because when the Spanish came here, the hate was still there. He didn't have enough chance to, enough time to change that. Yes.
Do you think the Spaniards found this place?
No, the Spanish never came to Machu Picchu. Fortunately, in other ways they would have destroyed this area as they did with the others in the surrounding area of Cusco. So, Machu Picchu, you see the way how Machu Picchu is, and that's the way how Bingham found this place. Of course, vegetation was all over, but they wouldn't do anything for reconstructions, for instance. They do only restorations in this place. The gables, everything is there. When Bingham found that, that's the way how Machu Picchu was. Now, shall we start walking a little bit more? And so on. Huayna, we got a very large number of terraces in over there. So they need to have those terraces in order to fit the labor that they were working here as well. So it was built step by step. So it was a very long plan.
But Sayamorca didn't have any.
No, they didn't have any terraces. So Sayajmarca was a place where, where the people need to reach to rest as a tambo, as a lodge, because all the hikers, they need to have places to sleep.
I thought it was a
Sayajmarca was.
vacation spot.
Oh, okay.
It's like this, because it's so pretty and they had all the back.
Yes, and Puyupatamarca also. Very nice. Side of the city, because the terraces that you see inside of the city, those are not farming terraces anymore, but retaining walls. Have a look, for instance, where the tree is, that small square. See how high that wall is. Could be something like 9 or 10 feet high. So the amount of dirt that you need only to fill up that square. It's really amazing. This area here, they left open. They didn't fill. And if you go inside of that where the tree is, you see the like tree there. Only for that area, the amount of soil that they need to take. But as I said, soil came even from 20 miles away.
And the stone they came.
And the stone was taken from this area. All this mountain is granite. I will point you to the stone quarry. They have 3 large stone quarries in Machu Picchu. So this is the end of the farming area. And we are getting now into the living accommodation. That's from this wall to the next steps where those people are. See how small was the living accommodation. That's why I was telling you that no more than 500 people were living here. And this area was divided in two parts, as always, as the Incas did. The upper part and the lower part. See where this wall is, right? This wall, that's the limit between the upper part and the lower part. And the upper part was very well protected by that wall that probably was higher before. And because of that wall, it was not easy to go inside of that place. Way up on top, where those people are on top, there is a doorway with a system of security to lock the doors, or teachers live up there, and the labor, the servants down here in the lower part. You were 14 of you. How many people were working with you? How many quarters you had?
25.
25, plus the cook, the
Right.
so probably, yes, and you were only 14 of you. So probably here, among the students and the teachers were only less than 200, perhaps 150, and perhaps 300 were the servants. Were always more servants than the people living in this area. So not only
To see what?
not only one of the experimental agriculture centers in Cusco, Tipon. Tipon is a great, the way how they build the canals for water running there. So many canals in so many terraces there. Is that engineering? What do you call that type of engineering? Hydraulic?
Yeah, hydraulic.
Hydraulic engineering. Not only civil engineers, but also hydraulic engineers. So all these matters we're teaching here.
There's a dry mode that is.
This one is.
What is
This
the
one
dry
is the
mode?
dry mode. That's
Right-
what
right-
they call the
right
dry
there.
mode. It's also for drainage. You can have a very good system of drainage there. But what they found, one of the geologists said, that there is a fault in this area, Machu Picchu, mainly in this area. So this part of that is. So always, the dirt was sinking in that area. If you start looking that, some like a fault, have a look at that mountain also. See the shape of that one? So that's part of the fault. So they think this is a dry mud, but they were filling up always with dirt and dirt and dirt, that area. So as well as this area is.
Because it looks pretty small for 300 people, doesn't it?
Well, in this lower part,
Yeah.
did you see?
Well,
Well,
there's another area
we
they
got
could've
we
lived
got
in.
3 areas here. That's why I was telling you the teachers or students were living here, because we got another living quarters behind that area.
Oh, so
Behind
maybe-
that area, we
maybe
got
there's more
also another
workers
living
over there.
quarters there. So could have been also the labor there.
And what about this rock that they carved? We don't know what that.
That one,
Yeah.
perhaps was on top of the lintel for the beam of the roof. We are going to see similar to those ones in the temple of Green. See where this the small square is the tree. A Peruvian archaeologist was digging out close to the tree, on the right of the tree, and she found a gold bracelet. Actually, that was the only piece of gold that it was found in Machu Picchu. That was in December 1995. It was a very thick gold bracelet.
So that means they had women.
Yes.
Women students?
No, we shall be talking about that. But, not really. Well, when I was talking about the water that had to be taken from Huayna, also in Intipunku we got another spring. In Intipunku, there's another spring there. But during this time of the year, which is the dry season for us, we don't have that spring. So that means that water mainly comes to that spring by filtration. So that's why water had to be taken all the way from Huayna. So did you see plastic pipes there? Of course, they are taking with plastic pipes because we lost the ones of the Incas, the canals that they had built. There are many landslides in that area, and we lost that. And mainly we see water running here always during the rainy season, because that was also coming from Intipunku. But in this case, they haven't got enough water to supply even these fountains here. So
But are these bats?
Also, was
That's over here.
even in a picture taken by Vegan of this temple, the two rows of stones at the end, you also see those ones.
So at the
That's
top,
it.
they didn't do as careful as that.
No, even in Ollantaytambo, even in Cusco we see that.
Here's a good example right here. So
No, that's new.
well, that's new.
That's new. That's had to be done. If you come inside and sit down here for a moment, please. Machu Picchu was already abandoned. And nobody knows why. Perhaps it was done during the Civil War. Remember these two brothers fighting for power? Huáscar and Atahualpa, and they were fighting for 7 years. And I understand that 7 years are too many years for a civil war. So and the real Inca in Cusco was losing the war. So the real Inca, the son of the sun god, was losing the war. Of course, that was a moment of emergency. And you never keep running a university if you are fighting for 7 years. So all the students were, by sure, were only men, like the teachers also men. All the students were told to leave this place because the Inca was losing the war. And all the students left this place. And if you are told to leave a place, a university, you take everything with you. And that's what these people did. That's why Machu Picchu was empty for very few years. And right after that, the Spanish came to the city of Cusco. So Machu Picchu was still empty. So when the Inca lost the main battle in Cusco and he came to Ollantaytambo, the Manco Inca lived in Ollantaytambo for almost 2 years. And a battle took place there in Ollantaytambo. So the Inca was the winner of that battle. Actually, one of the few battles the Inca won. And the Inca left Ollantaytambo as well because he was able to understand that the Spanish were coming back to Ollantaytambo with more people. And he left Ollantaytambo, the Inca, and he moved down to Vilcabamba. That's another city in the jungle. Some like 60 miles away from here, we got a large city with the name of Vilcabamba. And Vilcabamba was taken by the Inca as his refuge. And the Inca was living in Vilcabamba for many years, probably since 1539 to 1572. But when the Inca left the city of Cusco and Ollantaytambo, he took many people with him. Royalty, all these priests, thousands of soldiers, of course, and also the chosen woman. You know, of course you haven't heard about the chosen woman, but the most beautiful woman from all over the empire were chosen, and they used to live in a big palace in Cusco. Once they were chosen to live in that palace, even the Inca, with that strong power he had, he was not able to take one of them as concubines, for instance. They supposed to die virgins because they were wives of the sun god. And the mamaconas were the name of the woman that looking after the chosen woman, the mamaconas. So when the Inca left the city of Cusco with all his people, the Spaniards, on the way to Vilcabamba, I mean, the Spaniards were always behind the Inca. They wanted to kill him. But the Spaniards were always behind the virgins. They wanted to have them. So when the Inca was nearby, perhaps the Inca stopped and he said, I got very weak army now. I lost many battles. At the end, I might lose the war. If I will lose the war, the virgins of the sun will be taken by the Spaniards. And I don't want that. I need to protect them. So the Inca knew that this place was empty. The Inca knew that this place was protected by the nature, and he decided to send them here.
How many were there?
Some like 300 of them. Probably by the time, we know that more than 300 were in Cusco, but by the time the Inca was on the way to Vilcabamba, perhaps less than 200. And that means that Machu Picchu was taken as a refuge as well by the chosen woman. And they were living here for many years, probably since 1539 to 1560s. So as they didn't have any children at all, they all died of natural causes. So once the last person died, that was it. The vegetation took the city over. Meanwhile, the Inca was losing the war in Vilcabamba as well. And they forgot about this place up to 1911, when this was found by accident by Hiram Bingham. That's when I said that it was taken as a refuge by the chosen woman. That's why 70% of the human remains they found here are female. The ones of the
70%.
70%. Yes.
And so did the Inca take the students with him to Vilcabamba
No.
that were here?
No. As I said before, the Spaniards even came to Cusco. The students were told to leave this place and they went back to Cusco.
Oh, but he didn't take them with him.
Probably he did. Yes, probably he did. Yes, the students as well.
Did the Inca have a separate group of non-chosen women for his
No,
concubines?
no. As I said, no.
He just had a.
He just had a wife. We know that the Inca had concubines, but not of this chosen woman, of course. As I said, once they were chosen to live there,
The chosen women were not for any man.
no,
They were for the sun.
they were for the sun god. They were wives of the sun god. So they supposed to die virgins. And Bingham, Hiram Bingham, you know that Bingham was a professor. He was teaching Latin American history in the Yale University, and he came to South America following the road of Simón Bolívar. You know Bolívar? Bolívar came to Cusco. That was in 1825, and Mr. Bingham also came to Cusco, of course, because he was studying to Bolívar. And when Bingham was in Cusco, he was invited by a prefect of one of the provinces of Cusco to see Choquequirao. Choquequirao, that's another nice archaeological site, but in a different valley. That's in the valley of Apurimac. In this area we got two valleys, the Urbamba Valley with the Urbamba River, and behind all these mountains we got another valley with the name of Apurimac. The valley is wider and the river is also wider. So Choquequirao is in that valley, and Bingham was invited to see that. So Bingham also saw Sacsayhuama and all those places. So, and he started to study more about the Incas, and he forgot about Bolivar. And Bingham, as he was studying chronicles written by the Spaniards during the 16th and 17th century, he found the name of Vilcabamba, the last capital city of the Incas. As the Inca was living in Vilcabamba, as I said, since 1539 to 1572, no way of having two heads in one state, the Inca and the Viceroy, the Quechuas and the Spaniards. That's why the Viceroy Francisco de Toledo, he sent his army to Vilcabamba, and he said, I don't want to have those people fighting always against me. Go there and kill all of them. And that's what the Spaniards did. They went to Vilcabamba, they killed all of those people living there, even to the children. That's why we never talk about the descendants of the royalty anymore. We talk only about the people, the Quechuas, nowadays. The royalty gone. And the last Inca, Tupac Amaru, because we had 4 Incas in Vilcabamba since 1539 to 1572, ruling one after the other one, of course. Manco Inca, Sairi Tupac, Titu Cusi Yupanqui, and Tupac Amaru. And the last Inca, Tupac Amaru, he was captured by the Spaniards, and he was sent back to the city of Cusco and beheaded in the main square. So that was the end of the Inca dynasty.
And there were no heirs at all? No relatives?
No,
descendants?
they killed all of them. Perhaps some royalty, left by that wife, but it's not known. I mean, and they just die after that. Now we got only the Quechas nowadays. And they made records, and they destroyed Vilcabamba, the Spaniards, and they made records of that city. Of course, the Spaniards were very proud to reach that part of the jungle and destroy the city of Vilcabamba. And Bingham saw that name, and he said, well, the Incas were living in Vilcabamba. I would like to see where Vilcabamba is. And he started talking with the president of the university in Cusco during those times, and they said, well, we are looking also for Vilcabamba, he said. We would like to see Vilcabamba. But all the expeditions to Vilcabamba, they were taking the valley of Apurimac. As I said, the valley is wider in that place. But Bingham found a key in one of the notes written by a French explorer, Charles Wiener. Charles Wiener was in this area, and he went to the jungle area as well. It was in also 1870s, 78 actually. And he wrote a note, Charles Wiener, sir, I was told by these people in Ollantaytambo, he said, that all along the Urbamba River there are 3 more sites, archaeological sites. Machu Picchu. That's the first time someone mentioned Machu Picchu in 1878. Huayna Huayna, the name of that mountain, and Choquequirao. But that was the mistake. That's why people were taking the valley of Apurima, because he mentioned Choquequirao as well. But we know that Choquequirao is in the valley of Apurima. But Bingham, he just took this valley, as the note said, all along the Urbamba Gorge. So when Bingham was down in the lower part of that mountain, actually in Huayna, there is a very small valley there, very small. And 2 families were living there, having tea plantations. And Bingham was always asking to the people if they saw houses built with stones, and that's what he asked to Melchor Arteaga. Melchor Arteaga was the name of one of those families living there. Have you seen houses built with stones? And Melchor Arteaga said, houses? No, the entire city is built on top of this mountain. He found this mountain here. So of course they knew about this place. And thanks to that information of Melchor Arteaga, Bingham discovered Machu Picchu the 24th of July of 1911. And of course he said to his friends, "Will you please don't say anything about this new discovery." That was 1911, so he didn't even mention that in Cusco. He went back to the United States and he came back with a full expedition. That was in 1912, supported by the Yale University and the National Geographic Society as well. And then 1912 was the time when he started taking all the vegetation out in this place.
So he came up here and what the hell was hanging up there?
Yes,
Must have been quite a climb.
yes.
Question about the women. Popped in my head. A woman chosen.
Yes.
Okay, now
Still going after 32 minutes. Oh, I must